Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this stream. Just posted, we're going live on TikTok, so that's why we're starting. Ugh. So, first off, let's get some music going. Yeah, I'm live on Twitch, I know. It's not like I just started it myself. We're gonna go ahead and get some music going, assuming iTunes decides to open up for me. There we go. Okay. So, I'd somewhat mentioned this the other day, but I had the idea of going and showing how to start a stream, mostly because I had looked at my own older streams and I was like, oh yeah, it's not difficult to get into streaming. The most difficult thing is just starting, but sometimes you don't know where to start. So with that context, we're going to go ahead and actually show you. I say we as if there's more than one of me. Okay. So first things first, I should probably pull this up. So in order to actually start using OBS and, you know, streaming, you kind of need OBS. So for that, we've got this lovely thing here called obsproject.com. You go to your Windows, download, you download it, all that. I obviously have everything installed already because I'm currently streaming. So that's that step. Once you have it downloaded and everything, here's this. We have an open blank window. So normally this stuff up here will be just called untitled or whatever. Only reason it has a name right now is because I'm needing to make a separate. It technically makes sense, but at the same time it doesn't. Anyways, so we have this blank canvas here. What do we do with this? Well, first things first, we should probably do, and also this is going to be in differing levels, quote unquote, of explaining how to actually do the OBS streams, you know. And the thing is, this also works for recording as well, whatever you want to do. So for the most basic, and I mean the most basic, all you need to do is add a display capture. And then it's going to look a little funky here because it's going to be recording my main display, which is what's currently on screen. So obviously this. Okay. So that's step one. You now have a display capture. It's capturing your main primary monitor. I currently have two monitors. Sometimes you only have one. You could have more, less. You couldn't have more than, you couldn't have less than one. That would be a little bit odd. Anyways, so that is step one. Step two, we're going to go into our settings. In here, we're going to go into audio. So normally you'll just go in here. You can select default, and then that'll be all set up for your audio settings, and then you'll select whichever microphone you're going to use. Again, just press default. Like, super simple. You press apply, you press OK. Hey, look at that. We now have audio. Now, the reason you don't see the music playing, I have additional equipment that causes me to have multiple audio tracks. So for me, what I specifically do is instead, I'm going to disable the desktop because I don't use that. I'm going to select my broadcast stream mix and my chat mic, because then, oh hey, look, now you have the music playing. Obviously you can't necessarily hear what's going on with this, but it's there. And then you also have the microphone. Okay, so that's the most basic setup for your actual like streaming essentials, apart from obviously your streaming location or your recording location. Realistically, at this point for recording, you can press start recording. It's that simple. Now, if we want to go and actually stream, we're going to go to stream, select whichever platform you're streaming on. For my instance, it would be Twitch. You can use a stream key, which you can find on your Twitch. It's recommended, obviously here, to just connect your account. You'll click this, It'll pop up a window. It'll be like, hey, give us your username and password. Bada bing, bada boom. That's done. So then you log in. Sometimes you'll have the two-step authentication, whatever the case may be there. You're done with that. You can start pressing stream. Like you can press the start stream button. So that is, as I said, the most basic necessities, I'd say, for streaming. Obviously, technically, you don't even need a microphone. It's highly advised. But you could, like, if you have different ways of just interacting, like, realistically, you could just do your default audio and then, like, your desktop audio and have your Twitch chat that you talk in. Wouldn't make the most sense necessarily, but it works. Okay, so that's like bare bones, all you need to start. Like if you don't have a camera, if you don't want to use a camera, whatever. Obviously if you have a microphone, it's better. The higher quality microphone, the better. And again, you don't need these things to be super advanced. Only thing that I will make a note of, so here's my OBS icon, whatever. So we're going to right click that, go into properties. I guess I should probably just actually bring this over here. So right click it, go to properties. Then we're going to go to, I think it's advanced in shortcut. Yes, run as administrator. That is very useful for one key reason. That reason being, then this is mostly for if you have a lower end PC, but it can work anywhere. Okay, so now all of a sudden, why do you run it as administrator? The reason for that is because then the prioritization of your computer is going to go towards your OBS. So if you're lagging in game, for instance, OBS isn't going to be lagging as well most of the time. So for instance, you could have it where, oh, well, you're getting perfect frames and everything in your game, but your OBS is lagging. Not great. Not terrible, but not great. So now let's go ahead. Let's say you want to add a webcam. You know, most people do. You're going to go ahead, add a source, video capture device. Excuse me. Doesn't even have to have a name. We're going to name it webcam just so that we can keep things somewhat organized. And then select your webcam. In this case, I currently have two cameras plugged in because you have the one that you're obviously seeing me live with. And then if I was to try and select the one that I'm currently live with, it doesn't work because Windows only allows one application to use your webcam at a time. So that's why I have my second one plugged in. Okay, all of a sudden we're looking at this. Why does it look so choppy? Why is it super tiny? That sort of thing. Here you're going to go into device defaults. Well, you're going to go into resolution, frame rate type, or FPS type, whatever. You get the idea. So with that then, we're going to go to custom. All of a sudden, it's going to go away. That's okay. We're going to select resolution, select the resolution of your camera. In this circumstance, it's a 1080p camera. High, currently can look at that one or that one and you can see whatever. Then depending on what you do, I would recommend do either match output frames or just highest frame rate, whichever one you want. Now, if you notice the two different cameras that I have going on right now, they look like they're kind of not the same frame rate. That's because they're currently not the same frame rate. I think technically the one that we're opening up here in this instance of OBS is in 30 frames per second. It might be lower even. So this is a thing with specifically the C920s, which is kind of the standard, or at least it has been for a while. I haven't been super up to date on equipment. To get it so that it's not all choppy, you press configure video. It'll pull up this thing here. You can play with the white balance if you want. I wouldn't recommend it necessarily. Biggest thing though, you're going to go into your camera controls. You're going to click low light compensation, apply okay, or just okay, whatever. All of a sudden, frame rate is a lot better. I'm not fully certain the specifics of what causes that. Also, we're going to just press OK here. Not fully certain the specifics of why the frame rate ends up being so bad. It has something to do with the fact that it's allowing more light in, but then because of that, they have to do something or another so that because of the amount of light that's coming in, you have to lower the frame rate, otherwise you're going to break the equipment or something along those lines. I don't know the full specifics of it. Anyways, okay, now we have this giant camera, but okay, where did our display go? Well, it's there, it's just sitting behind. Just going to grab the corner here, adjust it to whatever size you want, and then you can position it in a corner here. Snapping will automatically be on. I forget how to turn that off. I think it's somewhere in here, probably in transform or something. And a lot of this also, like, I don't know the full specifics of most of the stuff. This is just trying to be as beginner friendly as possible. Where's the transform? There should be a transform somewhere. Maybe I have to go to here. No, it's because it's there's transform. But yeah, so then here you can even like fit to screen, you can rotate, you can do all that. Just grab it. Oh, that's very bizarre. What did I do? Reset transform. Okay, no idea what exactly happened there. I think it had something to do with the fit to screen. Okay, there you go, you have your webcam. Again, super basic, just one additional step. Adds a lot, can add a lot of personality, just because then you can be expressive. Now, if you notice mine here on the main, obviously it's a little confusing because you have two cameras currently going, at least that you're seeing right now. So the reason I have this border is I made it. I do a few other things. We're going to go to that at a later point today to explain that. But for right now, we just want to go ahead and continue this. Also, if you notice, anytime I hover over anything, it gets a little blue outline. That's because it's currently not locked. It's able to move around. You can lock your sources. Super simple. And then now all of a sudden, doesn't do anything if you're clicking on it. Again, super basic. Now let's say that you want, similar to what I have, where, okay, here's a face scene, but then there's also the actual like main display. For that, you're just gonna go to scenes. We're gonna name this face. And then now all of a sudden there's nothing. So we're going to just go in here. We're going to add a video source, but again, only one instance of the camera can be used at a time. So we're going to go add existing webcam, bada bing, bada boom. We have the webcam here now. Excuse me. Okay. And then again, you can lock it, all that. Super basic. So now we have our face scene. We have our main scene. Does a little crossfade there whenever you switch between the two. In order to change that, scene transitions down here. You're going to click it, and then currently there's only two. There's cut, which just removes any sort of fade, or obviously the fade, which is a little bit more appealing to the eyes. You can also add them. They have a few different ones here. For instance, we can do a fade to color. Let's select bright purple. So now it'll fade to the color and then do that. It's a little jarring, whatever, but you get the idea. The ones that mostly are going to end up being used are going to be your stingers. Those are like custom ones that you have. So that's going to be ones with animations, ones where it like closes and opens the door or something along those lines. There's also Luma wipes. This is the more beginner friendly, quote unquote. For this simply goes and gives you a whole ton of different options here. Now, what are all these options? Well, that's why we have this button here of preview transition. Also, when it says A here, that is the scene you're starting on. So we press preview transition. Hey look, B is then the scene you swapped to. It alternates between the two. We now have that. You can also invert it so that it goes up. You can select this one and then again invert, that sort of thing. There's a whole ton in here. I think, what's the one that I use? I forget which one I use, because I know I use one of these. I don't think it's Iris. No. But it's the one I use when I think it's watercolor? Maybe. It's something. There we go, I think it's that one. Also, when we're doing this, it goes pretty fast. If you want it to be a different speed, all you have to do, change the duration. So for instance, let's make it 1000 milliseconds. So that's going to be 1 full second, I think. And then it takes a little bit more time. You can use that. The other thing that you can do is you can do a transition override. This is really cool. What this allows you to do is you can say, for instance, fade. So now when we go to this scene, our main display scene, which we're going to rename, which all you have to do there, right click, press rename, gameplay. So all of a sudden it did, you know, our Luma wipe, but then we click on face, it does a fade. We can also go and do that there, you know, assign different ones. I currently have mine assigned to different things for whichever scene I'm going to. So for instance, this is why you see this when I do that, when I do this. Okay, sometimes it'll be funky like that. That's simply, now when it does that in OBS, occasionally that'll happen. It's simply by the time you've transitioned to your other scene. So for instance, let me go back to my main. So that's a different sort of, you put it in as a stinger, I believe. I need to remember how I do that. And where's the preview button? No, that's not the one. Here. Okay. So yeah, so you put that one in as a stinger. I can maybe, if I remember how to do it, showcase how to do those. But again, you can just do this. But so, for instance, I think it's specifically on any sort of stinger transition, which we'll get into later. Sometimes if you swap between your scenes too fast, it'll break and it'll just do a cut. It happens, it's not terrible, whatever. I'm trying to think. So again, super basic. I'm going to get rid of that because that is terrible. And then also when it comes to switching between scenes, I have a Stream Deck, so that allows me to press a button physically. You can also set up hotkeys. All you have to do there, you go into your settings, hotkeys, and then you can just go into switch to scene. You click the button. Well, you click inside, I should say. Anyways, you click here, and then we're gonna go Shift Control Alt 0. Okay, never mind. That can. Maybe we don't do it over there. J. There we go. And then Shift Control Alt. K. Come on. L. Apparently K is already being used somewhere or something. Gonna press apply or gonna press OK. So now I press those, and then all of a sudden, hey, look, it swaps between my scenes. I personally, again, just use the Stream Deck, and so I'm able to more easily do those things. Again, it's just super basic. It's not complicated, but if you don't know what to do, it can be overwhelming at times. So, again, at this point, we have only touched on the visual elements that we are directly affecting that we can see. But there are some certain things that you want to do. For instance, if you want to have a higher quality stream, we're going to go into video. Currently, this, if we were streaming or recording or anything of that nature, it would be lowering the resolution. For that, we're simply going to go click the drop down menu here, click output scaled, and then it'll just not actually scale it, if that makes sense. For output though, currently it's on simple, which is not bad. You can use simple, no qualms about that. Like, if this is all you need, it works. What we're going to do though, we're going to go into advanced here. Again, just click the drop down menu, advanced. Now for streaming, currently it's set to encode via your CPU. If you have, I think they have one for AMD graphics cards as well. I have an NVIDIA graphics card. We're going to select the NVIDIA NVENC H264. I swear I can read. Gonna click that. Makes things look a little bit different here. So for that, I'm gonna pull up my settings on my actual OBS just because I want to remember what I'm doing. Okay. So your bitrate is going to be very dependent on your upload and what resolution you're uploading at. So for streaming specifically, if you're running a 1280 by 1720, you want to go ahead and run a 4500 kilobytes per second bitrate, just because that's all you need, but it'll keep things from looking choppy. The lower your bitrate, the more blocky your whatever it's called. My brain is really farting right now. The lower your frame rate, the more blocky everything will look, because less pixel information is getting transferred to the servers on Twitch or on YouTube or wherever you're streaming. Your keyframe interval for Twitch, you're going to want to set to 2. Again, a lot of this information you can find online. I'm just trying to get some of the basic information out there. Also, any of this information, I just go based off of what I've researched in the past. Presets, the slower your preset, the better quality, but the more intensive on your equipment it will be. So a good medium ground is medium. There you go. Your tuning, I'm not 100% sure what this is. Basically, as far as I know though, it's the difference between whether you're going for a just trying to get quality into your stream, or if you want to have a low latency stream, which that basically just means instead of the normal like upwards of 10 seconds of delay from when I talk to when it goes through Twitch's servers to all of a sudden it's now being broadcast onto my page, low latency shortens that amount of time. For your multipass mode, as far as I know, single pass is best. Again, not 100% certain about this. Feel free to do your own research and look it all up and all that. Then for recording, most of the time you'll just set it to the same as your stream stuff. Reason for that is simply because then you're not having to monkey with a whole bunch of stuff or whatever, and it ends up working out. It just looks like your stream essentially, apart from occasionally a little bit better because of like loss of information as it goes through the servers and everything. Main thing here, make certain if you are recording while streaming or in general just while recording, it's highly recommended to use the MKV file instead of something like an MP4. Reason for that is because an MP4 if for some reason your OBS crashes or your computer dies or whatever the case is, MP4 and a few other ones, I guess it's specifically MP4 and MOV, it will just completely remove, like it won't save the video at all that you've recorded. It'll just lose everything. It'll get corrupted, that sort of thing. So more or less you want to use the MKV, specifically if you're going to be making it into an MP4. And the reason you want to use an MP4 for recording instead of the MKV is most editing software, as far as I know, doesn't actually allow you to use the MKV file type. I don't know, again, I don't know full specifics, but that sort of thing is there. Yeah, we're just gonna have to leave that. I didn't really realize that was the thing, in all honesty. Okay. But then you are able to set from using the stream encoder to using a different encoder, which the encoder we're going to set to the same, but by not just using the stream encoder, what we're doing here is we're allowing us to change the way that the recording process works versus what the streaming process is. So what I have mine set to is basically all the same stuff here, but we're going to go to, because this stands for constant bitrate, we're instead going to go to constant, I forget, it's like constant quality preset or something like that. For that, we're just going to go ahead, leave it at 20. Basically that then, instead of setting a predetermined bitrate that you're recording at, it sets a range of where the bitrate should be at. If I remember correctly, I think, I can't remember if it's the higher the number, the better the quality, or the lower number, the better the quality. I believe it's higher. Not 100% certain about that. And then here, actually, we want the preset to be the slower, because then it'll cause your recording to be a higher quality again. Keyframe interval, we are going to set to 2 again. Don't think there's any more steps in there. Few other things you can do. What I personally do whenever I stream, I have, where is the button? Okay, come on. It should be in here somewhere, I believe. Okay, I guess it's automatically set, I think, just because it is based off of my already pre-existing OBS. You're going to want to go ahead and press the record, automatically record when streaming. You can either have this enabled or disabled, depending on if you want to have your stream VODs recording as well as going onto the Twitch servers. I would recommend if you're planning to use your own streams at a later point in time to go and have this enabled, whether that's going to be in just editing for clips of your own or using in later YouTube videos such as this. Hopefully I've gone and put the effort into putting onto my main YouTube channel, because that's what I'm planning to do. Another thing you can do to make certain that your videos are as good as possible with your recording, I forget, where is it in video? No, it should be in output. I think, yeah. Okay. For that, I personally have 2 discs, because I have an SSD and a hard drive. You're going to want to go and put your recording path to whichever device you have your whatever it's called, installation of OBS installed on. I personally have a folder, so we select that. All of a sudden now it's going to record to my SSD, and then I just move it onto an external hard drive afterwards to make sure that I have space. That does a lot to allow you to have as seamless a recording process as possible, instead of it having to weave through information to get to your other hard drive if you have multiple, that sort of thing. I'm trying to think what else. Another thing you can do is you go to your advanced settings and check the automatically remux to MP4. So what that does is whenever you record, it will go and, instead of you having to specifically press the button, which I believe is in edit, where is it? There it is, Remix Recordings. So here, you'd select whichever recording, then you'd press the remix button. I have it set to automatically do that simply because then I don't have to press an additional button. And I know that I'll always have enough space, sort of thing. I'm trying to think if there's anything else for sort of like this tier of recording stuff. Because again, super beginner friendly to an extent. Of all the stuff that I just went through, realistically, just the main things that you want to do is make certain that if you want to, you're recording when you're streaming and then automatically remixing afterwards. Also, whichever output you're putting at, you want to do that. Because I didn't go over this, for 1080p streams, you want to also make certain that you are going to 6,000 kilobytes per second. I also forgot this. Depending on what you want your frame rate to be at, you select it from this drop down menu. And then all of a sudden, hey look, now instead of going at whatever it's called, 30 frames a second, we're now going at 60 frames a second. Again, not super complicated, but it helps a lot. Also, we have this additional audio mixer bar here. This is your webcam. It doesn't necessarily need to be there, if that makes sense, depending on what you're doing. Since we have set our audio sources currently to our desktop audio and our microphone, we're going to go ahead and simply hide this because it's not necessary information and it kind of just clogs up. So all of a sudden now, hey look, we have a webcam, we have different scenes, so we can do specifically our face, we can do specifically the rest of this, whatever. Everything's going good there. Now, if you notice again when I was talking about, actually we'll hold off on that for a second because that's again not super necessary. The border is nice, but it's not overly necessary. What we're going to go to next is, for instance, I have this screen, my Be Right Back screen. Excuse me. So this one is decently advanced. I made it in After Effects. You know, it's something to go and show, hey, we'll be back. We'll be able to, you know, it lets your audience know that you're not just gone. So in order to set that, you know, you could go and make something or hire someone to make whatever. If you're going for the free option, easiest thing to do. Website that I use is called Pixabay. It is completely free to use. These are royalty-free stock images. Let's say we want a, I'm trying to think of like a genre of what we could set our stream to be. Let's say we want our stream to be sort of, I'm trying to think. My brain is farting heavily here. Let's say we want it to be foresty. I don't know. I'm just gonna go look up forest. And then all of a sudden, hey look, we now have a whole ton of images that we can go and download. So let's go and we'll say this one right here. Looks pretty cool. Download it. I'd recommend just do the highest quality download that you can get, which I should probably hide this so you can actually see. It's got a little drop down. I just go for the highest quality just because then you can zoom in and not lose a whole ton of pixel information. So we're going to press download. It's going to have me log in, which I specifically just pressed the Facebook button, I think. So, you know, it's not difficult to do. Anyways, let's head back. Then just what I would do is I would also recommend have a dedicated folder to your media that you use in your Twitch stuff, your OBS stuff, I should say. So I just have on my pictures, a new folder. We're gonna just save the image. Okay, bada bing, bada boom. How do we add it? So first off, we're going to go and make a new scene. We're gonna call this one BRB, simply because it's our Be Right Back scene. Now you're gonna add a source. We're gonna just add an image. Again, it can just be called whatever. Doesn't matter, you can name it if you want to. We're just gonna leave it as image for now. Gonna press OK, we're gonna browse. It'll automatically put you to wherever you last had interacted with. So for us, it was the C drive. It's gonna go to pictures. We're gonna go to new folder and we're gonna select the forest. All of a sudden we have this nice big image, and then it's like, okay, maybe it's a little too big. So we're gonna just drag the size down a little bit until it gets to probably just a decent size, and then we can determine, okay, we want to use this specific region. Bada bing, bada boom. That's simple. We're gonna lock that. Now, again, currently, this is just a blank image. Nothing too special. We're going to go and add a text source. This we're gonna call BRB text, if I can press buttons properly. For here, now one thing that a lot of the time you'll do, so we're gonna just write Be Right Back. So it actually put a decently sized font. And then so, okay, well, we want this to be in the center maybe, but it's not snapping to the center. All I'm gonna do, transform, and then center to screen. Bada bing, bada boom. Again, this isn't super complicated. It's just something nice we can do, and then all of a sudden we have a Be Right Back screen that we can switch to if we're going to be leaving for anything, whether that's a bathroom break or someone got to the door or whatever the case is. The other thing we can do, which what I like to do a lot, so we're going to go into properties. First off, we're going to change the font just because Arial is basic. Impact also, again, pretty basic. We'll go ink free. We're gonna press OK, and then hey look, it looks a lot nicer. We're going to again just go and transform center to screen. Again, even just the font change can do a lot. If you want something that isn't automatically on Windows, literally all we're gonna do, we're gonna go to your browser, look up free fonts. And then there's 1.5 million websites you can go to. Whatever. So for instance here, let's say we want something sort of whimsical and magical. So we're just gonna search magical. And then let's go through, let's say we want, I don't even know. Let's say we want this one here. Free for personal use. That would be the other thing. When we're looking at this stuff, you want to make certain that you're selecting the license type of free or just public domain. We're going to just select both of those, update, because now this allows us to use it under any circumstance. We don't have to worry about any sort of copyright infringement. Sure, we'll go with this one because it looks kind of cool. It's in public domain. At least as far as I'm aware, that just basically means, you know, anyone can use it. Gonna press download. Normally you'd put this in your downloads folder. We'll just put it in here to save whatever. Open that up. And if it decides to, what is it doing? Anyways, here's this. You're going to go into your zip folder. Into this folder. And then I guess we'll just extract it. Again, this is super, I'd say super easy. Well, okay, it's easy, but it can be convoluted. Gonna just extract it, go into it, and then you're going to simply not right click, you're going to double click the OTF file. If you can't see that, you go into your view and make sure that file extensions are enabled. Gonna double click this, and then we're going to press install. It'll take a second. Bada bing, bada boom. It's now there in your system. So we're gonna just do that. Now I think it should automatically be in there. If it's not though, okay, it was Serpent, I believe. Okay, so we don't have it in here. Oh no, what happened? Well, it's just we need to restart OBS. So in this circumstance, we're just going to close it. Now you're like, oh wait, what about all my progress? You're gonna just open OBS again. This that you're currently seeing here is just a warning, because I have OBS already open. You won't normally see this. Gonna launch anyways. Hey, look, we're on our right one. We're going to go to select font, and it should be in here. Yep, there it is, Serpent. And then, bada bing, bada boom, there it is. We can also change, occasionally you can find different ones. Strike out, that's, anyways. Occasionally you can find different sort of, why is my brain farting so heavily? Like you can find some that have italicized versions or bold versions, whatever. Here, we're gonna just leave it as is. We're gonna, again, transform, center to screen. Okay, all of a sudden, we realize, hey, this is a bit small. I wanna resize it. The thing to avoid doing is clicking and dragging. Reason for that, let's make a new text file. And then we're just gonna say, hello. Okay, so for instance here, that looks pretty decent. The issue is, let's say we have it super tiny. Okay, maybe not that tiny because that is too tiny to even grab. Okay. So all of a sudden we have this little hello up in the top right corner, or left because I know my directions. If we simply drag it out, it's going to look terrible. Reason for that is because the font size is super tiny. What you want to do is instead just directly affect your font size. But then the issue with that is all of a sudden now it's too big because we didn't resize it originally. And I just lost the source, that's fun. Anyways, so instead of changing the size here in the editor, we're going to select our font. We're going to say 400. All of a sudden, it's a lot bigger. Again, transform, center to screen, bada bing, bada boom. It works. Another thing that I like to do is we're going to go into our properties. And instead of just being a basic white color, we can change it to, let's say, a nice sort of dark green. You know, somewhat blended in a little bit. Obviously, though, in this case, it's like, okay, but then you have certain elements, like certain areas kind of blend in too well. So what we're going to do is we're going to, again, go into properties. We're going to enable the gradient. Now, again, at this point, you can go a black, you can go a white, whatever you want. I like to go for a either a higher vibrancy color or a lower vibrancy color. Then all of a sudden, it looks a little bit more interesting. Now, then again, you'd want to play around with this, make certain that it's legible. You can, I believe, also add an outline. I would recommend to go just black on this. And then, hey, look, all of a sudden it also somewhat adds that ability for you to see the little eyes that were in there. You can also, I believe, you can change the size of the outline. So all of a sudden, hey, look, now it's a little bit bigger. Again, you kind of want to just play around with it. For this, we're going to go ahead and say that's okay. So all of a sudden now we have a BR Max screen that looks decently unique, but also conveys the information you need. We're going to go back to our Pixabay though, and we're going to search specifically for videos. We're going to look for a loop, which I don't know if they'll have any. They may not. Looking at images, yes we are. We need videos. Okay. So why are we looking for a loop? Let's go with this one, because this one actually looks pretty cool. Again, so the reason why we go for a loop. So for here, you can see some slight waterfall effects, whatever. If we take the mouse away, tell me when it restarts. The answer is after 10 seconds or so, but because of the way that it's animated and looping, you don't notice it. That one's a little too subtle for what I'm wanting to do. So we're gonna go maybe try and find something that's got a little bit more. That one is way too long in my opinion. Okay, maybe this one. And also a good way, if it is a longer video and you want to know how well it loops, simply click somewhere close to the end, remove your mouse, and then all of a sudden wait and you're like, oh hey, look, it already looped and you didn't notice. Again, we're gonna go to download. This one's got a 1080p. We're going to just press that, press download, save it to our folder that we've got everything in. And then what we're actually going to go ahead and do is we're going to, instead of using the image, we're not going to delete it. You'll see why. We're going to instead add a media source. So I'm going to call this BRB video. Gonna go find our video. Should be in here, new folder. And then we're going to enable the loop feature. What the heck is going on with that resolution? It said 1080p, but apparently it wasn't actually 1080p. I guess it's got the stuff on the sides. Anyways, for the sake of this, it's not like it's too terrible. I'd recommend, if you do have this, to make sure to go and find one that actually is the resolution you're looking for. So let's go ahead, we'll center that to screen. And again, because we zoomed out, technically there's a little bit of pixel information lost. Yeah. But all of a sudden you're like, okay, but I had this nice text document and all of a sudden now I don't have it. Where is it? Layers. It's simply behind the video. We're going to click this, pull it above, and then we're literally just, we're holding down the left mouse button, dragging it up. There we go. Now all of a sudden it doesn't look quite as nice because of the coloring and whatever. So what are we going to do? We're going to go into our properties and we're going to simply change these colors a little bit. So let's go for maybe more of a earthy color, a nice brown-ish color maybe. And then realistically, I think that looks a lot better. Like it's got information in there and all that. The other thing you can do is you're able to change the direction of the gradient. So it goes all the way from 0 to 360. And basically with this, you're able to just, it from the center of the text point, so like here, it's just rotating around. I guess it is, yeah, this. So it's just rotating around. You can, so for instance, let's go for it being, what would it be? It's like 2 something or another. My brain's farting on what like the exact specifics of, I guess no, it'd be 180. or no, not 180, because anyways, though, we're gonna just do this. We're going to essentially invert it. So now our green is on top. Again, another way you can do that is just clicking stuff around. Okay, I am going to go to my actual BRB screen because I really need to go to the bathroom. So I will see you in a moment. Okay, and we're back. Also, reason I put it up in the corner is just it looks a little bit better. Maybe also we'll go ahead and lower the size down to, let's say, 5. That border, the outline I should say. Okay, so now we have a nice BRB screen, but we have this extra image. Okay, we don't want to necessarily, okay, and realistically you don't need to have additional scenes. Like, these are more or less, why is that camera so fuzzy? Hello, camera? Focus. Don't know why it's so fuzzy. There we go. Okay. Anyways. So realistically, these are kind of the 3 essential scenes that you need. Just something to talk to camera and your audience, something to show your gameplay, and then something to just say, hey, I'll be back. Also with the video, specifically make certain you enable the loop, because otherwise it'll just disappear after it's done playing. It'll also show here the amount of time it has left, and that's if you select it. We're gonna go ahead and simply make another one. We're gonna call this one ending, and then here we're going to add that original image that we had. Again, it's going to be supersized. Gonna just do that. Let's maybe just use that. And then we can go to here, delete this. It'll remove this instance of the source, but it will not remove the entire source. Again, we can just add some text. Call it ending. And then I think this will give us an error. Yes. So the thing is, you have to name things not exactly the same. Even if you're using a source and the scene is called something, it'll, for some reason, I don't know exactly the reason why, but it'll cause it to be like, hey, we're not liking this, so stop. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to just select the same font, Serpent, right there. I'm just going to say, have a good one. Again, we're going to maybe change the font size a little bit, so we're going to go to, let's say, 300. Makes it just a little bit bigger. We're going to add the outline because it helps define the font a little bit. We're going to add a gradient. We're going to select, sure, let's go for that, and a nice darker shade too. And then we'll put it down here. And then again, you can finagle and have some fun with this. Maybe not 10, but we can definitely go for like 6 maybe. There we go. Looks a little bit better. Also, if at any point, because currently the way we're looking at this, it is only showing it in this smaller window. If you want to see how it would look on a full screen, right click your source, your preview here, go to full screen projector and just click your screen. All of a sudden, now you see exactly what it looks like. Then you can just press close. What I would avoid doing this on is your, whatever this thing's called, your main display capture, because all of a sudden does some weird stuff with your mouse. Again, you can just press close. Anyways, so these are kind of all you need. And then there you can kind of see what I was talking about with the, like, it'll restart depending on which scene you're going to. So that's that. And then again, I'm kind of just going over a lot of information here. Mostly just because I like this sort of thing and I want to help people figure out how to do it themselves. You can also see here, again, the video has an additional source. We can just hide that. Now, let's say you want to be able to have a border around your webcam, for instance. So one way you can do that, easiest way to do that is to probably just go and look up free, royalty-free webcam border. It's not how you spell border properly, but congratulations, I'm just stupid sometimes. And then I don't know what website would be good or what wouldn't be good, but you can just go and find free ones. If you want simply a box or something like that, that's where we're going to go into our next step, which is how I made mine. So you can have animated, you cannot. I personally don't think you need an animated one. So the program I use is called Affinity Photo. This is a paid software. It's very similar to Photoshop, but it does allow you to have a 30-day license, the 30-day trial free, 30-day trial. I swear I can English. So for that, you just press this, you put in information to say what you're downloading on, put in an email address, all that. You can download it. It'll have a few different things, but it'll be there. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to make a border for our webcam. So we're going to open up Affinity. Again, this is the initial step, not necessary, but it can be nice. New, we're going to make certain that we select the 1080, the full high definition, the 1920 by 1080. I'm going to create. Currently this has a white background. In order to change that, we're going to go into document, transparent background. It'll give you the checkers, the checkerboard. So one thing that I like to do on occasion, we're going to go into our other scene, our other OBS here. We're going to go to our face scene. Now we're going to go into that full screen preview again. And then we're going to print screen. If you want to print screen a specific window, you hold Alt and the print screen button. Help if I look at the right camera for that. And then we're going to go back into here. We're going to paste. Okay, why do we have this? The reason we have this is because all of a sudden now we know what exactly things are going to look like when we make a border. So we're going to start with just a simple rectangle. I forget if there's an outline version of this. I think, yeah, so all we're gonna do is do a stroke. We're gonna set it to like 10. Fill, we are going to make non-existent. Then we can grab this, do that, and then we can change our size of stroke. Oop. And then all of a sudden we have this. You can also change the way your stroke looks to be a gradient. To do that, you're simply going to click on the color and then change it to whatever you want. We're going for sort of a foresty theme here. Then you just click on your other one. You're going to make it a nice darker color. I forget how you change the rotation in this one. You can also change like where at it is. Another thing you can do though, I swear there's a way to change the rotation. Anyways, so bada bing bada boom. Border, okay. All we're gonna do, hide that original image. We're going to go into file, we're going to press export. Gonna go as a PNG. You wanna do a PNG if you want to be transparent, because otherwise it's not going to work. Gonna export, we're just gonna call this, let me help if we go to the right spot. Webcam border. And then we don't necessarily need to save this, so we're just going to close out and all that. Okay, so one way you can do this. You're going to go here, we're going to add an image. We're going to then just call it image 2. We're going to find our webcam border. And we're going to shrink it down to size. That's one way you can do it. Kind of difficult to do in all honesty. So what instead we're going to do is we're going to delete the webcam source here and the image. And we're going to make a new scene. It's going to be in brackets with NS afterwards. So open bracket, NS, close bracket. The NS stands for nested scene. And we're going to call it webcam. Now we're going to go ahead and add our webcam in here. And then we're going to add our image again. Again, if you deleted it because you forgot that you don't have it somewhere else, you just make a new one. It's real simple. Now, the reason we did this, all of a sudden, we have this here. Okay, we have a new scene with the webcam. What's the point in that? The reason why we do that is because you can add a scene to your preview. And then you're going to just select that nested scene. Because it has this bracketed NS, it'll appear at the top instead of wherever you have it here or alphabetized or all of that. I'm gonna press OK. Now, when we adjust this, all of a sudden, the entire thing moves around. So it's not just the webcam, it's not just the border, it's whatever we decide. Or not, anyways, it's not just the webcam, it's not just the border, it is both of them together. Now, an extra step that we can do, which I like to do, if you notice over here, if I can position my finger here and here, you see a nice little curve. The way I do that, again, make a new thing, make it a transparent background, gonna paste our image. So all of a sudden it's like, okay, how did I do that? It's a little bit more complicated. It only requires the nested scene though. We're going to go ahead and we're going to use an elliptical tool. We're going to just change this to be nice and and just move it over here. And then bada bing bada boom. It would help if that's why I was like, why is it all just white? And then I realized it's because the camera is the window is causing it to be super white. Anyways, so now all of a sudden we have this. We're going to hide this. We're going to then go to our magic selection tool. Is this the one I need? Do I need to select it? Right, I need to also make a new pixel layer here. Which I realize you also can't see the layers. So I'm gonna make a new one. We're going to select here. Actually, we're gonna select this. Come on. All right, I need to rasterize this first. Okay, now we're going to fill this in with a color. We're going to select it onto our new layer as well. Here, let's actually just do that. So we're selected this. So to get to that point, we select this. We select the section that we want. We go to our new pixel layer. We're then going to fill it with a nice, vibrant green. Why is that, you may ask? There's a very specific reason for that, and that is because we're going to use a chroma key. We're going to again select that same layer. I'm going to go to our fill, and apparently it's going to crash. Fun. Don't know why it crashed. Let's try that again. Okay, now I need this to be more like that if I'm going to do that. Okay. Again, rasterize. New layer. Gonna select here. I'm also gonna just press shift so I can select. Never mind. Anyways. And again, we're going to just fill it with that green. Okay, now we can hide this. Or, yeah. My brain's farting right now. I'm trying to remember the exact steps of how I did this. So all of a sudden, also let's put our image back in here. So now we have this, okay? That's cool, I guess, but what are we gonna do with this? Because now we want to have a border that works. Well, for that, you're gonna select this. We're gonna select literally everything else. And then we're going to fill it. I'm trying to think how best to do this. I guess, yes, we're going to fill this. No. I can use a rectangle tool, I think. And again, we're going to just make this go all the way. Can I change its color to blue though, or something? I don't know. Gonna move it down a layer. We're going to give it its stroke again. Nope, that's the wrong layer. Because realistically, this isn't the most effective way to do it. I'm trying to think what to do. I guess let's do it this way. I'm gonna give it more there. And then we're going to, at the same time, give this a stroke. realize it's not gonna work that way because I messed that up. I'm trying to remember how I did this. Sorry, my brain is really farting right now. Guess let's just I'll do that. Select the empty space. And we'll fill it with the red. I don't know. Again, we're going to make a new pixel layer for this. Going to select down here, again, just fill it with red. And the reason we're filling this with red instead of like the green or something, you shall see in a moment. Then going to select this, and we're going to select the green part. I'm going to come here, and we're going to press delete. Now all of a sudden, you can't see it terribly well, but we just removed this certain area. I'm going to repeat the same process on the bottom. And we need that one. Then delete. And now we're going to go to the rectangle. We're going to come into this. We're going to remove its fill. We're going to rasterize it. We're going to select the black. And we're going to make it red. I realized that I did this in kind of the wrong order, but that's okay. Why is it not filling up with anything? Is it filling it with white? Possibly. What the heck? I have no idea what's going on. Maybe I need to rasterize this one too. Nope, it's just being funky. What the heck? I have no idea what's going on right now, sorry. My brain is farting heavily. I mean, then again, part of what we can do is if we just like, this is one of the steps where I'm a little confused because I haven't done it in so long. Okay, why do we go blue? Why is this not filling at all? Yet if I do this, it's gonna... What the heck? Why is this not working? What the heck? No idea why that part wasn't working at all. There we go. And now all of a sudden we deselect, we hide this, and we have a weirdish looking border. So now we're going to do these as two different, first we're going to select everything here in this one, and we're going to give it that gradient that we had before, like the nice lime, and then a dark forest green. Yep. I forget how to actually select it after we've done stuff. And then obviously you can make it look a little bit nicer than what I currently have. You can also adjust the angles and everything. I realize green is going to be actually the exact opposite of what we want because of the chroma key. Let's go blue and I don't know, a different blue. And then we can also like change that or something. Okay. Anyways. Now we're gonna deselect everything. We're going to export these both as 2 different images. This is going to be the webcam chroma. And then we're going to turn that one on, that one off. And we're going to export this webcam border. Yes, we're going to replace it. Okay, we're not saving that because that was a bunch of shenanigans. Anyways, we come back here. All of a sudden we have this, but we still have like, you can see my finger here sort of thing. To change that, we are going to go ahead, add in that additional image, the chroma, but we're going to put it in a group, which to make that, you're just going to go ahead, add group. We're going to add these 2 to the group and put this above it. And then we're going to go into the group. We're also going to just lock everything. Going to go into the group. We're going to go into filters. And we're going to do not color correction, but chroma key. All of a sudden, that is now removed. So if we go back to this scene, you can see that it also has removed those corners. Obviously this one's really jagged. It's not terrible. So bada bing bada boom. We now have a webcam border. So that's pretty cool. And then if you want to know about alerts and all that, I can maybe do some tutorials about that at some point. Excuse me. But that is the basics. I mean, I say basics, it's a bit convoluted technically. You can add other things, for instance, like I've got my little zoom ones. Okay, how do I do that? Well, that one's actually surprisingly simple. We're literally just going to make scenes. We're going to name them zooms 1 through 3. Here, let's actually duplicate it after. We're going to add this. We're going to add our webcam. Literally just expand this. And then duplicate. Or do that maybe first. Duplicate. And then we're going to undo it and we're going to zoom out even more, or zoom in even more. And then if you want, you can, now here's where that override comes into play, because you're going to want to put these all to cut. And then we're going to duplicate again. And we're going to zoom in even more. certain your positioning's good. And then bada bing, bada boom. You now have the ability to zoom in on this one. Ooh, help if I don't change that. I would recommend highly to just make certain also your nested scenes are always below your stuff. But yeah, so there you go. Now you have zoom stuff. So you can zoom in and all those shenanigans and everything about that. And you have an ending, you have a BRB. And yeah. It's actually, I want to see if I can remember how to do, what was they called again? Okay, we're gonna go black. So for the transitions, we're going to go that's not helpful. Okay, we're gonna find a black and white transition that we like. Let's say that one, sure, it's a bit long, but we'll do it anyways. So, this is going to do that effect technically, but it's going to do, if I can let it take a second here. Okay, so this is going to help you so you can have like this sort of effects. Again, we're just going to download, go the highest quality. And then we're going to make a new transition. This one's going to be a stinger. We're going to find our source and we're going to use a track mat. Mask only. So now we're going to see that it does that. And then bada bing, bada boom. That's how that works. So now all of a sudden it'll do this sort of thing, which for some reason it's also, why in the world did it have that like weird opacity? Is that in the actual like original thing? Oh yeah, because it's kind of gray instead of like a white. That would be why. Anyways, you get the idea. So you can find free transitions like that. You can make your own. Yeah, it's not super complicated, but it can add a fair bit. I'm really curious as to why that's like grayish though. That's really kind of funny. And that's audio stuff. If you have other stinger transitions though, you could go and like set a transition point. So like for instance here, it's just going to instantly do it. But it's also going to just do the black and white, whatever. So you'd want to set this to like 5 milliseconds, for instance. Okay, maybe more like 50. So then it would hide it, sort of thing. But it's also track matte, so yeah. Again, the fact that it's gray instead of pure white causes a little bit of funkiness. So yeah, that's more or less how you do that. I'm trying to think if there's anything else kind of nifty I can showcase. Not really necessarily that I can think of at the moment. So yeah. Let's go ahead and do it for that section. Since this is hopefully going to go on YouTube, hi YouTube audience, feel free to like, comment, subscribe. Hopefully this was helpful. If it was, again, go ahead and just let me know. I'll try try and make another sort of thing, maybe something a little bit less, you know, hour and a halfy.